Well, this is the third year for our Freedom Walk program, and as you can see, we're having a little weather problems, but it's really not that bad here today. We've had snow on the first year, beautiful sunny weather last year, and this year we've been in between rainstorms, so the kids get a little taste of everything. But what we're doing here is we're trying to give the fifth graders in Spanish Fork and Salem an exposure to what being a veteran is and what service they've rendered to the country by having stations around the trail where they stop and visit for about 15-20 minutes with a veteran from each branch of service and learn a little bit about their service and sacrifice to provide the freedoms that we enjoy in this country. We also teach them about the flag and the meaning and respect of the flag and why that means a lot to veterans. And we also talk to them about Flanders Field. We're going to have a closing ceremony a little later where we'll do the military rites that we do at the cemeteries for fallen veterans. And when they leave here today, we hope that they have a little more understanding of what being a patriotic American is, and will always want to pay respect to the flag the way we respect it as veterans.
I was asked to do this, this is my third year, and I am a Vietnam veteran. I was an Army Ranger in Vietnam, and I see our kids today not having this drive for patriotism or drive for freedom. And when they asked me if I would do this, I said yes, I'd love to participate because it's something that our young people need. And I like to bring the kids here and help them have a good experience. They give them the equipment to kind of put on and play with a little bit, and they seem to like that. So hopefully it's giving them a thought process that will say, no, I do like freedom, and I do like the way our America runs and our soldiers that protect us. Probably more than anything, I want them to know that this isn't just stuff on a movie. It's not on a video game. It's not a thing. It's real. It's real people. Real people have fought and died and left their limbs and their blood on foreign soil, and they need to know that. And so by having them physically handle that stuff, it becomes real to them, much more real than anything else that they would experience at this age. And I got to tell you, I was very impressed with a lot of the kids here. They asked some very intelligent, some very good questions, and I was impressed with that because I've gone to groups before and they didn't have good questions. These kids all did, and I was proud of them.
Well, it was an honor for me to be invited over here. I was asked to talk and explain to them briefly about my career in the Air Force, what I did, and the equipment I was involved with, the airplanes that I flew. And it was always rewarding because they were always interested, they paid attention. It was great to have them here, and it was great to share the experiences that I had. Vietnam, I had 2 tours to Vietnam. It was not a popular thing. When I came back, I had to change out of my military uniform before I went to the commercial terminal in San Francisco. And so to be able to come back and explain to these young people what it was like and to have them, their interest and their respect really means a lot to us veterans. The one thing I've noticed, I've done this for 3 years and really excited when I get invited back each year. But it's been very rewarding after I do the short 20-minute presentation to have some of these young people come up, shake my hand then, thank me for my service, have some questions. They're sincere, they're interested, and they want to know. And it's very rewarding to me after the negative experience I had coming back from Vietnam to have this kind of interest and this reception and this sincerity and appreciation for my service in the military.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that they're doing now that I was impressed with, and that's this wall over here that they do where the kids all come and they choose somebody that they know and they bring a little bio of those people, and I think that if they extend that, that's good. I also think that the public, their parents, their grandparents, and their neighbors need to know that they're doing this kind of thing and that they're involved in it. So I think it's something that has to be a broader brush put on it, maybe. And I think the little fifth graders, if they're actually saying, hey, I'm going to this Freedom Walk, and here's what we're going to do, and here's what we're going to see, I think it would kind of incite a lot of patriotism even in parents and grandparents and the community. So they can carry a lot of weight. I don't think they realize that, but as fifth graders, they got a lot of energy, and I think that they can bring a lot of people to that realization that they've got to be involved to keep their freedoms.
The Wall of Honor is students start researching a couple months before this event, and what they do is they learn through reading journals or other stories that have been passed on, and it's just a great way to honor someone in their family or just honor any veteran. And the cool thing about the Wall of Honor is that parents also learn about their own family members and even stories that they didn't know. I myself, researching with my son this year, learned more about my grandpa and how he was at Pearl Harbor. We were able to look online and we found an interview that my grandma was interviewed for with the newspaper, and we were also able to learn and read from some of my grandpa's personal journal about his time at Pearl Harbor. He served in the Marine Corps. Him and my grandma lived at the base in Pearl Harbor, and one morning on December 7th, my grandpa walks outside his house and to get the newspaper, and he looks up and he can see these planes, and he thought they were Marine Corps planes disguised as Japanese planes with their logo and their flag. And he goes back inside to read the newspaper, and a couple minutes later he hears a bunch of explosions, and he runs outside and he sees smoke just thousands of feet in the air. And he goes and grabs his handgun, and there's planes coming down through the streets of Pearl Harbor, and he's shooting up in the air at these planes with his own handgun. So it was really cool for me as a parent to read about my grandpa, and also to pass that down to my son as well, to help us remember the men and women who have fought for our country to protect our freedoms.
I hope that these young people, when they see the presentation from all of the branches of the military, when they see how things are handled at burial ceremonies, that they're going to have a new respect for veterans and for, hopefully, our flag. Flag displayed everywhere, and I'm sure it won't be an immediate change for all of them. I can tell by talking to them and looking at them. Some of them are very interested, some of them are very taken by it. I think others will think about it years later, maybe when they have military service or another member of their family has military service. But I hope that they will remember this and be more appreciative of veterans and their service and what's taken place here today, and exposing them and showing them what has gone on with many of these veterans.
Yeah, put your hands together for the Spanish Oaks Choir. Well, young people, we are so excited to have had the opportunity to share with you these last few hours and hope and pray that you have learned something today of value that you can keep with you the rest of your life. There are a couple of things that we want to impress upon your minds throughout this experience. Number one, we wanted to have you develop a sense of love and respect for the country that you live in. We wanted to help you develop a love of America, a love and respect for all that you have been blessed with. You have so much to be grateful for. You have so much to be grateful for because you live in a country where you share freedoms that much of the world does not. Many of you may remember a few years ago, a singer, Lee Greenwood, sang a song, and he said, "I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men and women who died to give that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to her and defend her still today, because there isn't any doubt I love this land. God bless the USA." I hope that you remember those words and that you have that feeling based on what you've experienced today, that you maybe develop a little more respect for America, a little more gratitude for the freedoms that you have as Americans here in this great land. And we hope that you've developed a respect and love for that flag that flies above your heads. That flag is sacred to we as veterans. It's special to us. It means a great deal. One of the stations that you went today talked about the value and meaning of that American flag. Those of us who are soldiers came to know that that flag meant safety. That flag meant we were home. We were among our friends. We knew that if we were near the flag, we were safe. And so I hope that you don't do anything that would disrespect that flag. That's the first thing I wanted to talk about. The second thing that we had hoped that you would learn today throughout this exercise was a respect for the men and women that you see dressed in our jacketed uniforms today, the veterans that are here. We hope that you would gain a deeper respect for those who were willing to sacrifice their own lives, if necessary, to defend the freedoms that you enjoy today. There are times throughout the world when bad things happen to good people, and we are often called to go protect those people's lives, their way of life, and their freedoms. And you have to be willing to give up your own life, to die on the battlefield if necessary, to ensure those freedoms. And all of the men and women that you see here today, all of the men and women that you saw on the walls of honor down here, all of the family that you young people were able to write up a history of and show pictures of on that wall of honor, all of those men and women were willing to fight and die if necessary so that you and others around the world could be free. And so we hope that you have gained a little bit more respect for those of us who served. And we hope and pray that through our efforts and all the things that the sacrifices that we were willing to make, that none of you will ever have to put on a uniform and serve our country and risk your life. We would hope and pray that there would be peace throughout the world so that you would never have to do that. But despite that wish, all of those that are here today, all of we veterans that are here today, accepted that challenge and are here today hoping that you have gained a greater respect for those of us who have served. Now, the last part of our program today is going to be a two-phase program. Whenever a veteran, whenever a military veteran passes away and is buried, we who survive, we who are still alive and are veterans, perform for them what we call military rites. We pay a last tribute and a last salute to those men and women who are veterans, who die and are buried. We call that military rites, and we are going to perform for you now a typical military rite ceremony. There's no one in that casket, but if we were to do this at a cemetery, there would be a veteran who has fallen. We drape an American flag over the casket in honor of his service, and we fire a rifle salute, we play taps, and we present the flag to the next of kin, to the family. So we're going to do that now, and hope that you pay attention, and at one point I'm going to ask you to put your hand over your heart in respect for the service member who would normally be in that casket.
Present arms!
Dear family members, friends, faculty of the Nebo School District, and students, members of the American Legion and the United States military deem it a privilege to render military honors for a friend and brother in arms. This veteran's life was blessed with happiness and joy because he and men and women like him have served honorably and without hesitation to preserve the rights, freedoms, and liberties that we enjoy in this great land of America. Before us is the flag of the United States of America. It is under this flag that we all served. This flag is recognized by friend and foe alike as a symbol of freedom as it proudly flies over our republic, the land of the free and the home of the brave. In a few moments, these proud veterans will lovingly and meticulously fold this flag and present it to the family. Following the presentation, the rifle squad will fire 3 volleys. The 3 volleys come from an old battlefield custom. The 2 warring sides would cease hostilities to clear their dead from the battlefield, and the firing of the 3 volleys meant that the dead had been properly cared for, and the side was ready to resume battle. This veteran has been properly cared for, and his mortal battles are over. At the conclusion of the firing of the 3 volleys, our post bugler will sound taps. Taps is a living soldier's final farewell and tribute to a comrade in arms. We would ask that while taps is being played, that you place your hand over your heart in respect for this veteran. If you are a military veteran, it is proper to render a hand salute. And so for now, good friend to all who knew you, until we meet again, may God bless and keep you, your family, and these United States of America.
On behalf of the United States government and through the American Legion, it is my pleasure to present to you this beautiful American flag. Would you please accept it on behalf of a grateful nation?
Order! Fire! Rifle tail, prepare to fire. Forward, arms. Ready, aim. Fire one. Fire two. Fire three. Forward, arms. Together. Present, arms.
Everyone, please place your hand over your heart.
Order, arms.
Family and friends, this concludes our military rites today for our friend and comrade in arms, every service member. On behalf of the American Legion and the 30 members of our honor guard here today, we'd like to thank the family for allowing us to honor this service member in this way. His name will now be placed on our Veterans Wall of Honor at the entrance to the cemetery. And each year, on Memorial Day, a white cross bearing his name will be displayed in our Flanders field. Thank you again, and may God bless you all.
Rifle detail. And hook. Forward, arms. Left, peace. Column right, march.
Thank you. You can stand at ease. We would like to give special thanks to the Walker Mortuary family for providing the hearse and the casket and the flag for us today for this duplication of our military rights program. Thank you.
We appreciate your attention, and your attention all day today has been great. You've been great patriots, and we applaud you for that. We'd like you to give a round of applause for our 100-year-old veteran here today, Mark Mchale. He's even got his original uniform on. He says he doesn't know how much he weighed at the time he wore that uniform. You can't quite get it around him now, but he looks mighty spiffy in it. Thanks for coming, Mark. We're indeed a pleasure to have you with us this day. A couple of short announcements. We'd like to invite you and your families to come to the cemetery on the Memorial Day at 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll have a 30-minute program where we pay tribute to the veterans that are buried in the cemetery that day, and it's a very well-received program. We appreciate all your help and participation in that activity, if you would. Thanks again for being so attentive today, and our pleasure to be here with you. Have a good day.